left-wing members of the Israeli Knesset are dragged out from President Trump's speech. Shut up, bitch! Get out of here.
Please expel this Knesset member.
Get out of here.
Expel Knesset member Kasif out of the hall. Please expel him immediately.
Oh, get out of here, Baldy. Get out of here. Take your books with you. Fat. That's right. Ooh. What paper are they taking? I don't know.
Sorry for that, Mr. President.
I'm
sorry for that.
That was very efficient.
Oh, God.
So back to Steve. He's...
You know what he's thinking. He's thinking, why can't we just do this? Why can't we just drag their ass out? Like, as soon as somebody starts problems, bro, just drag their ass out. Oh, my God. Did he really...
And they're working out to find out where those bodies are. It's hard to believe that you even have to say something like that. It's so
Peace
sad.
2025.
So sad. But what's not sad is that we have finally, after, I guess they say 3,000 years, I've heard from 3,000 years to 500 years, but whatever it is,
it's a long time.
But this was the one, this was the granddaddy of them all, and frankly, I thought this was probably going to be the toughest, and maybe in many ways it was, but we had a lot of good talent. Steve Witkoff, Jared, and Marco, and Pete, and General Kane, so great. John Ratcliffe was incredible. We had an amazing array of talent, and we were helped by, in particular, the countries represented at this table. I will say, Tamim, you were fantastic, and your country is unbelievable, and I don't think they give you a fair shake. They talk about you as though you're not a nice person, and you happen to be a nice person. You happen to live in a little tough
Who's this guy?
By everybody. And without you, this wouldn't have happened. And I just want to thank you very much.
Look at what he's got. Peace 2025. I'm just surprised the letters aren't gold.
Another man who's been a friend of mine for a long time. I don't know what it is. I like the tough people better than I like the soft, easy ones. I don't know what the hell that is. It's a personality problem, I suspect. But this gentleman from a place called Turkey has one of the most powerful armies actually in the world. It's much more powerful than he even lets known. If you look at some of the recent conflicts, he was at the top of them, and he was winning them, and he did win them.
You mean the conflict with, like, his own people? Yeah, that was, yeah, he did come out on top on that one, huh? Yeah, how about that?
He doesn't want any credits, he doesn't want anything, he just wants to be left alone. He's a tough cookie, but he's been my friend.
He did, he came out ahead.
Every time I've ever needed him, he's been there for me, so I just
Syria?
want to
Yeah.
thank President Erdogan.
Yeah, where's the guy from Syria? He's sitting there playing video games in fucking in Russia.
They called me, they said, would you do me a favor, could you speak to Erdogan? And I do, and he never fails us, right, General? He never fails. He's amazing. So I just want to thank you for the friendship. It's great. Thank you very much. And then, of course, we have the host tonight, and I just want to thank you very much. There was a reason we chose Egypt, because you were very helpful.
Man.
And very, very helpful. Everybody wanted to have this, but we really thought it was appropriate. And you are a great leader. You have very little crime. You have problems that other countries don't have. And of course,
the pyramids.
Perfect, but the job you do is amazing, and I want to thank you. Another one. You've been my friend right from the beginning.
Turkey's conflict matter is right to glaze him a bit? Really? I don't know.
Crooked Hillary Clinton. Have you heard of her?
Bro, no way he's about to just name drop and shit on Hillary Clinton.
The campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton. Have you heard of her? We were both downstairs waiting to go up to meet this gentleman who has a place called Egypt, the oldest civilization. They say 6,000 years. China's 5,000 years, but you're at...
It's a place called Egypt.
Number one, 6,000 years. Can you believe it? But the oldest
Time of the play.
civilization. But so I went up to meet him first, and we liked each other so much that she waited for about an hour and a half. And I think your meeting lasted about 2 minutes with her. So I always remembered that. But that was our first meeting. We had great chemistry together.
Just shitting on Hillary Clinton right there, out of nowhere.
And a fantastic general, by the way. But he's a great president, and I want to thank Egypt and all of your representatives for treating us all so well. We're really representative of a whole group of nations, and they're sitting behind us, and you know most of them. I can tell you this guy's got so much money. They all have so much money. There's more money and power sitting behind us. I love that they're behind us. We've never been sitting behind anybody before.
Peace 2025.
Position for them, but they are seriously, they're among the most powerful countries in the world, the richest countries in the world, and there's never been really an assemblage like what we have today. I don't think I've never seen it anyway. And I want to
Hillary praised Trump on the news. Yeah.
Man, I just solved the war for him. Azerbaijan. Oh, did I do a good job? Where did you come picture? There he is.
There he is.
We fought for 32 years, and in about 1 hour we settled it, right? And they like each other now, too. That's great.
I think Trump's approach to every media is reality TV based. It really is. He's just... What the fuck does this have to do with anything?
So this is just a very important signing, but we're doing a signing, then we're doing a speech.
Crazy part is it works.
And I may stay
Yeah.
behind with the leaders just to talk about that some things without the press.
Oh,
I
bro.
want to thank the media for you've been so respectful on this deal. You know the
This
importance
is a new
of the
one?
deal, and I really.
He's doing the Middle East shout-outs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on the plane for quite
Everybody's
a while
getting their
listening to
shout-out.
the various newscasts. And
Of
they were
course.
all fair. They were talking about how incredible this is. This is an incredible day for the world, let alone the Middle East. So I just wanted to thank the media. They really treated it with respect. I wish you could be like that on other things, but that's perhaps too much to ask for. But on this...
The Honorable President Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America.
You could be like that on other things, but that's perhaps too much to ask for. But on this, tremendous, everybody feels the same. Just
God.
tremendous respect, and we appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Can we get the documents, please?
Man.
Okay. Okay.
Is all the biggest Muslim countries, even Indonesian president? Yeah, it's the guy with the hat. It's bigger than people think. Yeah, it is. I think also involving all these other countries pretty much kind of, it makes going against it harder to do politically. It's obviously a good decision.
This took 3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up.
Great.
I'm going to say a few words. We'll give you a little speech, and then we're going to meet with the leaders after that.
The only thing that's surprising to me about this is that he didn't bring in doves for peace. Just like train doves to like sit at the desk. That's what he should have
spend a
done.
little time together without the
That would have
media.
gone hard as fuck if he had done that, by the way. Like all those birds flying around.
The media is invited to the speech. I just want to tell you the people behind me and some of the people in the room that are
Well, no,
so
here's what happened to the doves. They got killed by windmills.
helpful. But the people behind me are the greatest leaders.
There's no more.
most
They're
powerful
gone.
Leaders, the richest leaders, frankly. Sometimes it's not politically correct to say that, but I'll say it. The richest in the world that the world has ever seen.
Wow.
And yet when you get to know them, I know every one of them in their own way, and I can say in particular some, because that's the way life works, but some of the greatest people you'll ever meet. and people that really care for their countries. And why this happened is they all came together and they wanted to get Gaza straightened out. They wanted to get the whole thing straightened out. It got to a point where it was just crazy.
It was crazy.
And once they got together and once we started talking, it went really, Tamim, it went smoothly. It went so smoothly. You were such a big help, but it went so smoothly that nobody can even believe it, that we're sitting here and getting this.
That's crazy, guys. It's 3,000 more down.
And all done. And everybody's happy about it. Everybody's happy about it.
Well, I don't know about
I've never
everybody.
seen before, actually.
Yeah.
I've done other deals and people don't care as much. Big deals. I think they're big deals, but this is something that's taken off like a rocket ship. And it did from the beginning. And I've heard for years, this is the biggest deal. It'll never happen.
Wow.
For years, long before I ran for office, that this is the Middle East. It's the biggest, most complicated
It's
deal.
probably true.
And also it's the place that could lead to tremendous problems like World War III.
Ooh, that's a bad one.
World War III would start in the Middle East.
It's a real bad one.
And that's not going to happen. We don't want it to start anywhere, actually, but it's not going to happen. So I just want to thank everybody, and I'll see you in a little while. And in particular, thank you all. Thank you, Tamim. Mr. General, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great
Man.
job. Great job. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yep, everybody, Bill Clinton praises Trump. My statement on the ceasefire: I'm grateful the ceasefire has taken hold. President Trump administration, Qatar, and other regional actors deserve great credit for keeping everyone engaged until the agreement was reached. Now Israel and Hamas, the supporting the United States, the region, and the world must turn this fragile moment into a lasting peace. Wow. So there it is, guys. Bro, he's even got Bill Clinton. But this is the big one, right? And it's happened.
We're going to go back. John,
we'll
I'm going to throw
this
this back to you now. President Trump has arrived.
Thank you, Marianne Rafferty. President Trump is entering the Knesset building. Heavy, hearty handshakes. There he's greeting Steve Witkoff. I believe that was Steve Witkoff.
He's a super lefty. Maybe you're right.
So very involved, the president's personal envoy, in making this day happen. Benjamin Netanyahu now, a handshake and a smile.
I have noticed that there are really not a lot of people that have even commented on this that have been very outspoken about how bad this conflict is. They're not even saying, like, I can understand thinking that, oh, well, it might still get worse. But I mean, I've seen videos of dancing Israelis I've been seeing videos of dancing Israelis because of this conflict. And I've also seen videos of Palestinians that are very happy. So it's interesting that the Israelis are happy. And it's interesting that the Palestinians, at least a good number of them, seem to be happy. But the only people that aren't happy are the mentally ill people on Twitter that have been making this their personality for the last 2 years. But for how long? Well, why do you think they're happy? Shouldn't you be happy that they're happy? You think you understand it better than they do?
Between those two, there have been some...
a bunch of, 21-year-old white girls with 7 piercings and 10 tattoos that have an OnlyFans that understand Palestine better than Palestinians. I don't want to hear that. It's ridiculous.
Exchanges between them. President Trump was not happy that the Israelis launched an attack in Qatar, which took out much of the Hamas leadership. And the Israelis defended that, said it was necessary, and perhaps it's part of what led us to this day.
And this is it.
The Israeli hostages finally are being released.
So all the live ones have been released. Apparently there's some issue with the remains.
Parliament. He's going to be signing one of the documents that attend to this day. But it's my understanding that this is not the peace deal that's being signed in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, for obvious reasons. He's in Israel, not in Egypt. The president is going to be signing something.
You have to dig him up? I don't know. National
security correspondent Jennifer Griffin knows more about what this is.
Yeah.
Jennifer?
John, right now, what we are seeing, you're seeing President Trump. He is...
It's crazy that we get to watch this, man. It really is.
He is signing what looks like a guest book. It's a guest book. I'm trying to read over his shoulder to see what
Who
he
knows?
is writing.
It's still not. Yeah, all this has
better,
happened in less than 1 year of him being the president. Isn't that crazy?
view from where you are right now, but clearly he is being welcomed at the Knesset with highest honors. He will be receiving the Medal of Honor, which is the highest civilian award. Looking on is the Prime Minister of Israel, President Trump, in his traditional with his traditional
this is a ceasefire.
And
it's a ceasefire for now, but hopefully the ceasefire leads to the war being over. I think that's clearly what's going on.
Very recognizable handwriting.
How'd they end this war, but not the one with Russia? Because Russia is a much stronger force than Israel or Palestine is. And also it's been going on, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard really to say. It's harder to do. Like, yeah, it's a huge country, different situation. It's hard to do.
Is writing what looks like a long message to the Israeli people, to the Israeli
Is Trump
government.
an honorary Jew now?
He's finishing up now, but
I don't know.
Started to receive some really
I don't know. You have to ask them.
Images from the released hostages.
I can't tell you.
One of the most searing moments was seeing two twin brothers who have been held in separate locations. President Trump now holding up, it says, "This is my best." I'll let you read it, John. You could probably see it better than I can on our monitor here. But President Trump sending a very heartfelt message to the Israeli people and to the region.
Amazing.
He's very proud of this moment. He's said on board Air Force One that it is the proudest, maybe the best moment of his life. He is so happy to be here in Israel and to have achieved what many before him have not been able to achieve. A ceasefire in Gaza, an end to what he says the war in Gaza, and the release of 20 living Israeli hostages whose families did not.
I'm gonna be real. Like, I think that if he ends up being able to end the Ukraine-Russia war too, like, anybody complaining about him is gonna just be a retard. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, at that point, that is insane. A third term? There are people talking about a third term. I'll play the Steve Bannon clip after this.
Believe they would see this day. We are still awaiting confirmation from
There's a new
the
one.
International Red Cross that they safely have the last 13 living hostages. The Red Cross is on the scene.
Need a prediction?
They are in the Gaza Strip, and we're told they've made contact with the hostages and with Hamas, but we do not have confirmation that all of the hostages are safely in their hands.
They have been at
do
this
medical
point.
checks as well as identity checks of the hostages. We've been seeing images coming out actually through Hamas phones of the hostages, the 13 calling their families in Raim. Some of them are smiling. The families certainly are happy to see.
Yeah, I'd be fucking happy.
The faces of their children and loved ones, but it's still rather gut-wrenching that they are still using their Hamas captors' phones to call their family. You see President Trump right now walking through the Knesset, greeting people along the way. He is being escorted by Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu and his wife Sarah. An important relationship that really forged this deal. It was that moment in the White House when President Trump was sitting side by side with Benjamin.
You covered the fact that none of the released hostages are women. The reason why a lot of the released hostages aren't women is that the women died. And I do think, like, I mean, this is... So my immediate thinking is that some of the bodies that weren't released were not released because they wanted to make sure that they could remove as much of the evidence that they were raped as possible. That's my first inclination of why it didn't happen. Because my mindset is that when something doesn't go exactly according to plan, there's usually a reason for it. But I don't know. But bro, they were dead for 2 years. Exactly. Yeah, they were dead for 2 years. It's reasonable. I understand. I get it. But I don't trust these fuckers, okay? I don't trust their fucking terrorists. So I'm not saying for sure, but you know, like it's I don't know. I don't know about reasonable. Yeah, sure. 90% chance they're assaulted. But either way, It is a good thing. And a lot of the women had already been returned through previous hostage agreements.
Netanyahu, and he told him, he made him call the Emir of Qatar and apologize for that strike, that airstrike against Hamas that attempted to assassinate the Hamas negotiators in Doha, Qatar. That really was a turning point in this. Some say that...
it's crazy because, like, he's having to micromanage, like, I think that... I don't have anything to base this off of at all. I'm making this up. But I think that there's probably a lot of people in the Israeli military and government that want to keep this war going. Because it probably means that they will have more importance. They will have more, more control, and they'll be known more, right? And so... I always, and this is nothing unique with I think there's Hamas members that feel the same way. I think there's probably American people here that feel the same way. And I think you can see this happen with, like, the Crusades, right? After the Crusades happened, there were problems with men that came back from the Crusades. And, like, you know, from different issues like PTSD, they're violent, etc. And so I think really trying to keep a lid on this is going to be hard to do. Because there's a lot of people out there that want this to continue. You know, God wills it. And then there's another fucking bomb. Why do you trust Israelis? Well, I don't. I mean, I don't, that, this is, are you listening? You're getting banned. You're getting banned. The reason why is that I'm literally discussing what my concern would be for distrusting them. And you think that I'm trusting them. You're putting words in my mouth that aren't there. Why would I have somebody by, oh, what the fuck? So you like waffles? Yeah, so you hate waffles. Exactly. It's annoying.
It took that military pressure to bring Hamas to the table. Others said it made President Trump so angry that he put pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu, and that is when they realized there was a moment. We also heard from negotiators.
I think this is also true that what I think the future for this is going to be, there's going to be a couple of things that, and I'm just like kind of gauging, like, this is, again, I'm making all of this up. My sources, I made it the fuck up. I think that right now, this does put Israel in a position that if they try to escalate the war again, the vast majority of the public will be against them. And I think if there's any sort of Israel gets attacked again by Hamas, I still don't think the world will support them. And I think the reason why is that Israel revealed its hand and its competency with Mossad and with their ability to triangulate and locate all of the different leaders of both Hamas and Hezbollah and Iranian military officials and surgically delete every single one of them out of their specific apartment buildings. And I think that by revealing that level of technology, intelligence, and competence, I think it will be very harder to sell the world on the idea that you were sneak attacked by Hamas again. And I think that, again, this is a silver lining of a gray cloud. You're right. But it is a silver lining. And I hope that people perceive it that way. It exposes their weakness. Yeah, and I think that now... Yeah, what if they openly attack? Oh, I don't think anybody will support them. And I don't think that Trump will even support them if they openly attack, another group like that. And I think that's why he was so mad about the Qatar thing. And again, imagine if they do that in like a year or something like that. It sounds like you're saying that if Hamas does something, it's Israel's fault. Yeah, I think that's the way people will see it. Because people see Israel's technology and their intelligence is so far and above Hamas that they will assume that if something bad happens to Israel, that Israel might have known about it and they let it happen. People think that already about October 7th. It's a pretty commonly held conspiracy theory. And so, I think also it's because it's been displayed by the level of their technological, just complete dominance. Like, I mean, let's be honest here, guys. Israel ran a fucking train on these guys. They ran a train on Hezbollah, on Hamas, and on Iran It wasn't even close. Like, they're deleting these people out of their apartment buildings. Like, they're hiding. There's a new guy that comes in, and it doesn't fucking matter. They're still blowing them up again and again and again. Retards think that? Now, absolutely. Bro, they have total fucking intelligence dominance. And it's not even close. So, yeah, I think if something bad like this happens, I think that they will... Yeah, look at the pagers. Like, look at the pagers thing. Yeah, exactly. And Trump, I mean, I guess it's like maybe not a good way to say it. But, like, am I really wrong, right? I mean, no, I don't think so. Israel obstructed purposely the investigation on October 7th. I'm not trying to get into that, right? Isn't that like saying that 9/11 was America's fault? I think that if another 9/11 happened, I think that a lot of people would immediately think that the government let it happen. So basically, like, I think that 9/11, like, you can actually, like, that's a decent question, right? That's a decent, like, and so, like, and we did, no, I don't want to get into, like, 9/11 conspiracy theories, right? I mean, I have my own opinion about it, and, you know, I think my opinion is probably similar to a lot of yours, but my point is that if we ever had another thing like 9/11 happen, and we were, you know, like, oh, we got attacked by, you know, like, Muslim terrorists again, and somehow these are people that, you know, like, oh, like, Israel was against also. I think that you would have a large percentage of the public that immediately, instantaneously approach that with a tremendous amount of distrust. So do you guys agree with that? Do you guys think that that's accurate? I'm not even sure, but that's at least my viewpoint on it. That's how I see it. I could be wrong, but yeah. Let me go back. Let's see if we can find it here. And yes, and so, like, yeah, I think actually the 9/11 one is a pretty good example. Yeah, Pearl Harbor. Well, Pearl Harbor, I mean, you know, like, we can get into that. I mean, that's yes and no, right?
Who were involved in the talks, that they believed there was a moment to make this deal when they realized that Hamas was starting to view the hostages less as an asset and more...
Yeah, why don't you have the same opinion about October 7th, since you just said how much more advanced Israel is? When did I say I didn't? I don't know.
As a burden. When they got that message,
I don't
probably
know.
Through the Qatari interlocutors, that is when Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff began the final push to get this deal. And they got it done in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, just moments ago. It looks like what President Trump
and also,
wrote
excuse me, I don't mean to pause again. I'm discussing the way that the public will perceive something, not necessarily giving my own opinions on it. This is what I think people will do. I'm not necessarily saying this is what should happen or this is what did happen, but I think this is the way that people will see things and how they will react.
This is my best...
Does that make sense?
So hard to read. A great and beautiful day, a new beginning. This is my great honor. This is what he says. President Trump writes to the Israeli people, this is my great honor, a great and beautiful day, a new beginning. Mm-hmm. Very profound words for a man who has become a peacemaker here in the Middle East. We can now confirm, John, that all 13 living hostages have been transferred to the International Red Cross in Gaza. They are now safely transferred. And they are in the hands of the Red Cross. They will be making their way now to the IDF and handed over to the IDF, and they will then be making their way within the next few minutes. They will be transferred, and then they will make their way, that brief ride, to the state of Israel, cross the border, and to the Re'im base where their families are waiting for them. But we can confirm that all 20 living hostages have now been released from Hamas captivity. They have been handed over safely to the Red Cross. We're told that all 20 are walking on their own. That is good news. That suggests that they did not need wheelchairs or to be taken out.
That's surprising to me, honestly. It really is. But I think probably what happened is that Hamas knew that this was going to happen. What I think happened is that they pretty much got the vibe that if you don't do this now, like, I mean, because, and this is, I think this is the other reason why he bombed Iran. It's because it's to show what happens when you say no. Tell me no, and your sky's going to be missing pixels. And I think the same thing happened with Hamas. I think they saw that, what happened to Iran, and they realized that, you know what? If we don't go with this, everybody might just die. Yeah, you have the options of yes and yes. Exactly. So so all over Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Yeah, well, I mean, that ended the war, didn't it? I mean, using overwhelming, brutal force and just killing a bunch of people is actually a really good way to end a war. It is. And the threat of that happening is also a really good way to end a war.
President Trump will be making his way to the podium
really effective.
There in the Knesset. He will be addressing a government that has been divided until
Saboteur,
now.
sure.
Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu's government has not been unified on this issue, on the issue of the hostages, on the issue of how to prosecute the war in the Gaza Strip. But today, a show of unity with the President of the United States standing.
Yes. Somebody says, do this or I will kill you is pretty convincing. Yeah, it is. It's pretty fucking convincing. And the thing is, that's the reason why I think he did the Iran thing. It's because it's to show that, yes, I actually will do this. Statement's getting clipped to oblivion, I'm afraid. Well, I mean, people can clip things out of context all they want. People love lying about me, and I think that the truth shines through no matter what. People love to lie. I don't worry about getting clipped out of context, really, because anybody can do that. I mean, you can do that to anybody.
Only the fourth president to ever do so, to address the Knesset on this momentous and happy occasion for the Israeli people, 20 living hostages coming home. Now, for the families of the 28 deceased hostages who remain in Gaza, still a bittersweet moment.
Yeah.
They will not have closure until those 28 deceased hostages
That'll
return
probably
home.
take a little bit more
and then,
time.
Of course, the mourning begins, the collective mourning. They've been in a state of suspended mourning, if you will, for the last 2 years, unable as a nation to bury their dead, to mourn the losses, the 1,200 people.
As an Israeli, I'll tell you, today felt very historic to us all. Yeah, that's what I find to be very interesting, is you have all these Israelis and Palestinians that are happy about it, but you have all these Western leftists that are constantly trying to cast doubt on it. And I think the reason why is because they don't want to acknowledge that a person that they disagree with did something that they want to happen. It's people are so rigid in their morality that they end up becoming immoral.
Who were killed that day 2 years ago. And then, of course, the Palestinian people, they are still digging out from the rubble. 90% of the Gaza Strip is rubble at this moment in time. There are hundreds of dead bodies of Palestinians being unearthed as we speak. 500,000 Palestinians returned to their homes, much of which were destroyed in the last 2 years of fighting. The Israelis blame Hamas. They say that they were hiding the hostages and other and militants in those civilian areas, in the tunnels, which were dug underneath all of these residential areas, underneath hospitals. And but the destruction is like something we haven't seen since.
It looks like it got hit by a nuclear bomb. Like if you showed a bunch of kids in like a classroom, they said this is, and say like this is what happened to Japan after the nuclear bomb, they'd be like, oh wow, that looks really bad. Straight up, like, I mean, there it is.
Since sort of World War II Dresden era photos or Hiroshima.
Oh, there it is.
Really
yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable. I have friends in Palestinian friends who sent me pictures of their homes before and the after is simply rubble.
It's not there.
So right now we await the President of the United States. He will be making his way to the front of the Knesset. He will be speaking. we were told that before he spoke, he was going to
For
speak
watch?
to some of the
It's
families
obvious.
of the hostages. I imagine if past his prologue, the president may be on the phone right now with some of those hostages, some of those families. This is a very, very proud moment for him. He has expressed as much. He says that this is really his greatest achievement. And it is certainly.
I think it's probably like, I mean, it's hard to say what like this one is really big. I mean, I think that ending a lot of like the Rwanda genocide, I think was really big too, because that one had just been going on for like 30 years or something. I feel like a lot of these are just even if you can stop the killing for a while, that's still better than it continuing, right? And so even a reprieve or a break from that, I would consider is a positive.
He will be traveling on to Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, to meet with
The
those
Congo,
leaders
you mean?
of 20
I
countries,
thought it was the Congo and
including the Palestinian
Rwanda.
President Mahmoud Abbas later today for a
Am I
signing
misremembering?
ceremony, an official signing ceremony for the end to the Gaza war. The Israelis will not be traveling to Egypt for that ceremony. They already had a signing ceremony with Hamas and with the interlocutors,
Hamas treats the
Kushner and
hostages.
Steve
Probably
Witkoff,
awful.
Last Wednesday. That's what started the time clock for the Israeli Defense Forces.
I mean, they're
to pull back
terrorists.
To an agreed upon line. They still control about 53% of the Gaza Strip, but they pulled back to that line. And then within 72 hours of that ceasefire taking hold and the IDF pulling back, that is when we were told that the hostages would be released and 2,000 Palestinian prisoners released and on their way to the Gaza.
That's another component, too, to keep in mind, is that Israel releasing all of the Palestinian prisoners is another huge W. It's an act of good faith.
That was the timetable, and that timetable
That's 2,000 people,
to
too.
Today on Monday. So back to you, John.
All right, Jennifer Griffin doing an
There it
excellent
is.
job reporting from Tel Aviv. So
I'm Steve Doocy.
They're murderers, though? Yeah, I know. Would you spare a murderer to save 10 more people if you thought the murderer wasn't going to kill anybody? Is justice so important to you that you will prolong people's suffering in order to get it? And I think that oftentimes, like, there are decisions that you have to make that are not these like super clean cut right decisions to make or anything like that. They'll try again. Yeah, it's case by case. Well, if I was them, this is my opinion, I would absolutely let Hamas go. I'd let them go for sure. Absolutely. Let them go. Deal with it later if you want to. But overall, let them go. Because if you can just make it stop happening, then that's the best thing to have happen.
This is not only the end of a war. This is the end of an age of terror and death. And
Israel still needs to face consequences for civilians they murdered in Gaza. Targeting Hamas was never justification for killing innocents. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, I mean, it's hard to, like, I mean, what about the Hamas terrorists that killed people, right? I mean, like, it at a certain point, you've got to move past it. Like, I'm not saying, like, they were in a war, and I'm not saying it was good. It was obviously awful. But they're letting the Hamas terrorists go. Like, that's it. I mean, this is the reason why, for example, like, I mean, Trump was able to sit down with a guy that used to be on the most wanted list for being the leader of ISIS. At what point do you just say enough is enough?
the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent
People want the war forever.
region. I believe that
Well,
so
they
strongly.
think that, again, of course they want the war forever because they're not going to have to fight it. They're thinking about what, oh, that's the right thing to do. That's the good thing to do. No, that's not fair. Yeah, because you don't have to fight in a war. You don't have to, there's no consequence for you to have this morality because you're sitting there in your air-conditioned room saying, oh, that's not the right way it should be.
This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. This is not...
We'll see what happens, right? And both sides are going to have some hard pills to swallow. They sure are. And that's the truth, man. And yeah, that's all there is to it. They wanted to be the ones to do the peace deal? Yeah, maybe. I have no idea. As an Irish person, we lost 6 counties. My life is better if we were living than impression. It was the best option for everyone. Yeah, I mean, perceived self-righteousness knows no bounds. Yes, exactly. I get it. What would the USA have done if October 7th happened in America? I mean, I think everybody knows what would have happened. And it would have been a lot worse than what Israel did.